What's Miles from Black Women TV talking to the wonderful Terri J. Vaughn, who's directing the Hallmark movie Unthinkably Good Things. Hi, how's it going?
It's going fantastic. How are you? Happy to be here with you.
So you've directed a number of projects. You're currently acting in a series. What led you to direct this particular project?
Well, first of all, the script was amazing and they were shooting it in Italy. I wasn't going to say no to that. But it was a project that fits me. It's a project about love. It's a love story between girlfriends. It's a romance. It features us. It's written by us, directed by us, produced by us, and that is powerful. And I wanted to be a part of that.
Now, the lore of Italy is great, but I'm sure, did you have any changes you wanted to make? You've directed a number of projects over the years. I'm sure it's not that easy to say the script is great. I'm sure you have your 2 cents in there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. There's always notes. It's notes throughout the shooting. So that was the same, but still the script itself, the story, the voices of the characters. Like I said, the love story between these friends, all that was there in the script, and the changes are really just changes to help with production, to help us with moving forward and making our days and making sure the through line with all the characters are in line throughout the shooting. So that's just the technical stuff. Nobody cares about hearing that stuff.
Now we've seen, chemistries between, or the bond between Black women in other shows and in some movies. Is there anything different you wanted to create with this one that people can say, I haven't not, this is new, this is refreshing, as opposed to we've seen this type of story before?
Well, definitely one thing that is new is that it's Hallmark that's bringing it to the world. So, the Hallmark brand has a huge impact with their audience, and they have a huge audience, and, they have very specific, way of telling their stories. And so this is them stepping out of that safe box that they've been in for, I don't even know how many years, 50 years or so, I don't know. And leaning into the success of their mahogany brand of cards, which has been around for 30 years. And so we get to bring those voices to life of those cards that's been such a powerful part of our life all, I can't remember when I didn't buy a mahogany card. Like if I'm going to buy a card, I look for the card with the Black people on it. And it's always the mahogany line, right? So for them to give this opportunity to create characters, live characters and stories based on the voices of these cards after all these years, that's powerful and that's different, just for this company and this channel. And I'm happy, honored to be the first one to do it with them. I just think that's a huge, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. We kept saying this through the whole filming, like, you guys, this movie matters so much. It matters so much. And there hasn't been a lot of television movies at all that has centered and focused around, that was written by a Black woman, directed by a Black woman, produced by Black women. The exec spearheading this whole thing is a Black woman, and it stars Black women. I don't know of a TV movie that was all of that. So it matters on so many levels.
Is it a matter in terms of, I'm trying to think that, there are projects out there like that, and it's just a matter of convincing whoever it is at the network, either the project's already shot, or convincing the network, we want to make this project, but do the networks have a say in terms of the sex of who's behind the camera, who's writing the script? I'd like to think that, like, oh, here's a story, here's my director, and the people behind the scenes, that is all based on talent, whether or not it's a male or a female. I think, you look to see, what Ava's done in terms of bringing in all female directors with her show Queen Sugar. Is that a factor when you're going into the meetings when they say, "Oh, we have a black female production team, or a black female, all everybody behind the production team is a black female." Does that matter in terms of a sell, or should that be an afterthought as opposed to, "Here's the story, I think it's good. Let's, you're on board. Here's my cast. Everybody else is secondary."
I'm trying to get what the question is.
The question is it a matter in terms of, is that a selling point in terms of getting this greenlit? You know,
So in this instance, this was the network branching off to do this specific thing. It wasn't us going to the network to sell this project. This is the network deciding they want to launch Mahogany as content for
okay,
their channel now, which meant that they are seeking Black writers, Black directors, Black producers, Black cast purposely, because if you're launching Mahogany, but you got a white man directing it, or it's written by a white woman, or then that's not speaking to us then.
okay. You shot in Italy. How was that
Yep.
experience?
Amazing. Very challenging, but amazing.
What are the challenges? You go in there, you're like, is it a matter of terms of the setting and getting the rights to shoot here and so forth, the permits?
No, so the settings were fine. The settings were beautiful. And that was the beauty, getting to be able to shoot in our locations were just so picturesque, and just being able to shoot there was just amazing and an honor. So not that. It's so we're the Americans coming in, but our whole crew is there. They're all Italian, and mostly Italian men that are our DPs, my first AD, my of course the grips, and we had there were some Italian female crew members, but again, there was the language barrier of trying to communicate what I want, the shots, and and them really wanting to show up and do the work and give me what I want. And so there were a lot of times where they were like, okay, got it. And then would they go and do something? And I was like, no, that's not what I said. So it was just the language barrier and it's trying to get them to clearly. So but by the end of the film, I was just like, repeat back to me what I said before you go off and do. So we had to do that to make sure I was getting, not wasting time with them going off doing something that I didn't ask for.
That begs the question. That begs the question. You're the director. You're gonna go to Italy. I don't know. Whether or not you know Italian or not. Is it a matter of you telling the network, like, I need a point person in me to help me translate, as opposed to, like you just mentioned, they're trying to understand you and they're kind of yesing you, whatever.
Well, yes, I was given. My first AD was supposed to be my translator. He speaks English and Italian, but still speaking English, but that's not your native tongue. There's still missteps and misunderstandings that happen. We speak a certain way here, and the English language is all over the place. We have one word that means 3 different things, and so stuff like that was very challenging. And even their working routine is completely different out there. It's like no matter what time we started, their lunch was 2 o'clock every day. It doesn't matter what time we start, and they take a 1-hour lunch at 2 o'clock no matter what. So that's different. That's not how we shoot here. They shoot 10-hour days. We shoot 12-hour days. So we had less time to get stuff in. So it was just those kind of challenges. But again, we went into this with a purpose and reminding each other all along the way, this movie matters, this movie matters. And so we all just, we just honed in and clicked in with each other to get it done. Even through the chaos, the misunderstandings. We all had the mission of making this a brilliant movie for our exec, because she has a lot on the line for this to go well. And then just for ourselves and our families and our culture. it mattered so much.
You have a wonderful cast. You have three actresses playing the leads, and they're playing characters that are successful. But at the same time, in every group, there's always like an elephant in the room, something that one knows of the other, but we don't say because we want to keep the unity amongst the friendship. And there's a scene in the movie where you're like, I told you I can't trust you because I know you're going to say something. It's always like, no matter how big your group is, you could be a party of three. One will tell the other, but don't tell her.
Oh yeah, it's like that with friends.
That's exactly. There's a scene in there that reminded me of a long time ago. Me and my friends were like, if you
Yeah.
tell one, the other's gonna find out, but they're not gonna let you know that they know.
But it's funny, it's like everybody gets in a category. They're all your friends, but they're all in a category for you. Like I would tell this friend that, but I wouldn't tell her the other thing, but I'll tell this friend that, and I'm not going to tell her that other thing. And so that happens in friendships.
That was good for the dialogue, because people need to see a little bit of realism there that they can relate with.
Well, I hope they see a lot of realism throughout this movie that they can relate to. That was also our purpose. And, that matters to us, that people are able to relate.
Mhm. In terms of when you're working with actors, and it's Karen, it's Erica, it's Joyful, and as well as Lance. Does the script get tailored towards the actor, in a way once they're cast, or is it is as it is, and they're just working
Well,
off the script?
yeah, the script is as it is, but I'm the kind of director that I want the words to feel comfortable coming out of their mouths. So if there were situations where they would say it a different way, or it feels more comfortable to them to say it, and I'm totally and completely open to that. And I do those takes. And then there are a few times when, the networks is around and they like, no, we really like it the way it's scripted. Can we get a take with the way it's scripted too? And we'll use whichever one sounds better in the edit. So we did that, but yeah, that's normal. That's a normal process.
You worked with cast before, the writer. How's that relationship? You've worked, this is not your first rodeo
She's
with her
my
before.
sister.
You
She's my
know,
sister. We've been friends for a very long time. We have a production company together. That's my girl.
you know,
This
and
movie
then
is about all of us, me and all our girlfriends. That's what this movie is about.
and then, having gone to Italy and obviously experienced the challenges, but you made it through. What did you learn in the process? Obviously, as your skill set as a director that you can take on to your next project. They're like, okay, knowing that like if you go to another country to shoot, this is where you may experience this. Or is there anything you picked up? You've directed a number of projects, but you're still learning. Is there anything new
Absolutely.
that you learned?
Again, I think I'm always learning to empower myself more by trusting my instincts. And I feel like I do that more and more each project that I go. So there were several moments on this set where I gave myself permission to trust myself and not so much what other people may have been telling me in my ear. So definitely that, and that made me feel much more confident in what I was doing. And the end result was fantastic because wait till you see the movie. And then also, yes, the part about shooting out of another country. Now I know what questions to ask before going to another country. Whereas before I didn't know. I just showed up and found out all this information once we hit the ground and got ready to work. Now I know better. I have better questions to ask before I ever leave so I can prepare myself or ask for some assistance if I need it.
Where did the directing bug come from? People have seen you throughout the years, but I don't think that many people know how many projects you've directed.
Mhm.
And so where did that come from? And as well as why to continue it, as well as continuing to act.
Mhm. Well, I think where the interest was sparked when just from years of working with young talent. I've taught several acting classes, had workshops. I opened up a theatrical bookstore here that had a stage where we taught classes out of weekly, and working with actors and directing them in scenes and getting intimate with them and helping them find their characters and all that. That's where the love of working with actors come from. So when we had me and Cass, we were producing an independent project that was very low budget. It was all new actors. Back then, it was DC Young Fly, B. Simone, Emmanuel Hudson, and they were all very new. It's like their first movie. And we didn't really have a budget to hire a director, but we had a brilliant script. We had funny ass people. And I was like, well, I can direct this one. I can direct this. I've been working with some of these actors already in class, and I can direct this movie. It's comedy, it's hood, it's new talent, all my sweet spots. So I took a chance. I took a chance on me. And the whole producing team, Cass and Ricky Hughes, who was our other producer, they had my back, and I directed that first movie. It came out great, called #Digital Lives Matter. BET got a hold of it. Some other networks got a hold of it, and I started getting jobs as director from that.
But you still continue to act. You're currently on Johnson as a series regular, knowing you're still directing projects. What led you to say, okay, I'll take on this role as a regular?
Well, I actually, starting last year, I worked on 3 projects that I was series regular or reoccurring. Cherish the Day for Ava DuVernay, First Wives Club for BET Plus, and then Johnston. So at the time when I was filming Johnson, is when I had my interview about directing this movie, and I didn't hear anything back for like a month. So I didn't even think I was going to get the job as the director. And I was in the middle of shooting both First Wives Club and Johnson. And luckily, like, the production team was working out the schedule between those 2 shows, so I could jump back and forth with filming those 2 shows. And then I got the offer for this movie to shoot in Italy. And I kind of panicked for a minute because I was still in the midst of shooting Johnson. And so I called my team. I was like, you guys, you got to work this out for me. I want to do that movie. And the producers over at Johnson were like, absolutely, we'll fix this schedule to get you out of here to go. And they did. They rearranged the whole shooting schedule, shot my stuff out, and I was gone the next week to Italy.
With Johnson, for those who haven't seen it yet, and hopefully they will tune in because you're on the show, what role do you play?
I play Principal Wanda Brooks. She's a no holds bar about her business, and she falls for a guy that she hires to work at the school, and it's really taboo. Some stuff happens.
And how much fun are you having on that show right now?
Oh my God, I love those guys. So fun and such a different character for me. People are not used to seeing me in that kind of character, which was another reason why I was like, oh, I gotta do this role. And the writing is amazing. And the guys, Deji and Thomas, who are the EPs of it, along with Cedric the Entertainer and Eric Rohn, those are my guys. So I'm having a ball. Had a ball. We're finished filming now, but yeah, having a ball.
Longevity in this game is never easy. It's
Nope.
people have highs and lows. It's hard to be on a high forever, throughout
Yeah.
a whole career.
Yep.
Not to say that there's a low. Sometimes there's a period where, like, okay, people
There
may
are.
not see you, maybe because maybe it's not marketed right, or you're in a different position, whether it's lead or supporting. What goes into staying in this game, being level-headed? Not everything comes all at once, and being patient for the right role or for the right project.
I mean, honestly, all I can say is it's faith in my position of where I am. I wouldn't be here, obviously, if I wasn't good at it. So I have to remind myself and lean into that sometimes, because it does get very frustrating, at times when things aren't going your way, and you do get long lulls of, when am I going to get my next gig? And I've had several of those moments throughout my career, but, I have a great support system. My husband is amazing and supportive. My kids ground me. It reminds me of what matters, what's important. And, I have a very strong spiritual life. I'm a faith walker. And throughout this whole business, I've been surprised and I've had the whole genre of feelings along in this business. But what I know is that this is my purpose. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is my gift to give to the world. And as long as I have it in me to keep giving it, I will, because I love it.
And to wrap things up, there's a lot of TV right now. Whether it's streaming, network, cable, it's all about marketing. For those who are not in the business, what is the sell to seeing unthinkably good things?
What's the sale to see?
Like every weekend I'm always like, what are my options? If I'm going to be
Right.
home on a weekend, what's there to watch? There's a gazillion channels. There was a period where
Mhm.
it's like, NBC, ABC, but now we got like, oh, what's on Netflix? What's on Hulu? What's on
Yeah.
Tubi? All of that stuff.
So what I can say is this is the kind of movie that I want to see. And I make content that I want to see that speaks to my sensitivities. I like to laugh. I like to cry. I like to learn something. I like to be moved. I like to be challenged. And I like to grow. And this movie has all of that. And it's fun. It's fun and it's heartwarming. And that's not just smoke. That's really what we shot. And we really put our hearts into this movie. We really put our arms around each other and had moments and, just reminding each other why this moment matters for us to be right here in Italy right now, shooting this movie. And all of that comes through. It all comes through the screen. And that's why you should watch it.
Congratulations on another directing gig. I'm sure people will tune in because it's a Black cast, it's female centric, but there's a story that everybody can relate with. Once again, congratulations. This is Wilson Morales talking to Terri J. Vaughn, director of Unthinkably Good Things.
Thank you, Wilson.